One of the state's least visited national parks is a boat ride from the beleaguered town of Triabunna. Considered by some to be an untapped tourism gem, visitor numbers to the Maria Island National Park have plummeted. A new tourism development plan has big plans to reinvigorate the region, but there's differing opinions on the best way to go. Emily Woodgate visited the island.
It has sea cliffs, mountains and pristine beaches to rival the Freycinet Peninsula, Tasmania's most visited national park. It has a World Heritage listed convict settlement that predates Port Arthur, and it's a refuge for free-roaming rare and endangered wildlife. All that, and nobody wants to see it.
Over the last 15 years, the average has been about 13,000 visitors to the island, with a peak of 15,500 in around 2007 and a sharp drop-off in 2008, 2009, we're down to about 8,000.
For some, the isolation is part of Maria Island's charm.
The wildlife, the bush.
And you have to come across a bit of water to get here.
But the beleaguered Triabunna community is desperate to get the tourists back. The town's reeling from the forest industry downturn and uncertainty over the future of its wood chip mill.
We've certainly been saying for the last 2 to 3 years at least that there was a likelihood that the mill would be either shut or downgraded, and we needed to broaden our economic base.
Is it that good to have all the eggs in the same basket? If the bottom of the basket fall, all the eggs fall with it.
So locals are looking offshore and see Maria Island's tourism potential, able to reinvigorate the entire region. First, the drop in tourists must be reversed. Access is a key issue.
2007, 2008, there was a peak drop at that time. That was a time that we really were experiencing difficulties with the ferry service.
Ian Johnston ran the ferry at the time and is now a tourism operator on the island.
We had an exclusive licence with National Parks, but it required us to run every day. The price of fuel went up at the same time, and so a combination of that and the visitor numbers started to drop slightly. There were about 15,000 then. The business sadly became uneconomic at that stage.
By the time John Cole Cook took over a couple of operators later, ticket prices were about $50 and crossings were less frequent.
It costs a lot of money to run a vehicular ferry like this, and you know, if you have declining numbers, then you have to be very careful that it's going to be able to be sustainable.
Come on down, guys, let's go.
Prices have dropped in recent months since a second ferry service started running.
We thought that the ferry cost and price was prohibitive to a lot of people, and also the access of only having one ferry service made it quite difficult for a lot of people to make one timetable.
That's not the issue. The issue is what is out here on the island. They're the problems of why people don't come.
The local community, industry and Parks and Wildlife Service have banded together to draw up a Triabunna, Orford and Maria Island tourism plan. It's a sort of wish list of strategies to lure people back to the region. But can they agree on where to start?
The government needs to really get behind the access to Maria. Something they've talked about for many years. Really, I believe it needs to be subsidised.
A greater interpretation, telling the story of Darlington.
More promotion of the islands.
The coast definitely needs a destination, a Disneyland, a theme park, a zoo, whatever. It needs a real draw card.
Restoration work is underway on some of the convict and colonial buildings. Parks plans include more mid-level accommodation, a step up from the campground and sparse penitentiary rooms.
We're quite mindful of the fact that Maria is a part of the bigger East Coast picture, and that Triabunna and Orford and the communities over there value visitation to the island as increasing business models on that side. We're also very mindful of the fact that the island as a national park has its own unique charm and character, and two of our surveys over the last 10 years have found that most people really value the island for its isolation, its natural beauty.
The island won't cope with more than 20,000 visitors a year without a massive infrastructure overhaul.
Because foremost Maria Island is a national park, so it doesn't exist purely for business purposes, it actually exists to protect its natural and cultural values, that we have to manage it for that. So we have limited areas to move towards new developments.
That's prompted some to say the tourism solution does not lie on Maria.
Tribunna is certainly a better investment dollar for dollar than spending money on Maria. Like I said, for me the tourism potential of a town starts with a town. This is where all the services should be provided for Maria Island.
The council has secured government funding for a feasibility study into a leisure boat marina in Tribunna. The Mayor hopes it will create a consistent visitor base, with industries springing up to service boaters' needs.
We have all the tradespeople, then once you build it and the boats start to arrive, you need maintenance, so you need electrician, you need painters, you need chippies, you need security, you need all sorts of things.
The council aims to attract a private developer for the project. There is agreement on one thing, that a balance of tourism and industry is needed to keep the region alive.
We see this wonderful island sitting there and we think that that's one part. It's not a panacea, but it's certainly a part of the solution. 200,000 visitors annually to Freycinet National Park, 7,000 visitors annually to Maria Island. That means that we've got a pool of 200,000 people driving past Tribunna that could potentially come into the town.
And with no firm direction on the future of the mill, the town's not waiting to let the chips fall where they may.
Tribunna has got the potential to become a town vastly different to a forestry town. Different and, I will dare to say, better.